Hi guys. So I wanted to share with you a little backstory, a little behind the scenes of the shooting for the Loverboy Stop the Rain video that I had done in 2017. Um, Stay tuned to the end where I'll tell you more about the actual editing of the video itself. But I'm going to do a little walkthrough and commentary. And to start, let's discuss the location itself. Um, this location is in Downey, California, at the Downey Cemetery. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful cemetery. And this video itself ended up being a contest, and the winner would receive I think it was a guitar. I'm not too sure. I think it was a guitar that was autographed by the band Loverboy. And Loverboy is such an iconic band. If you don't know anything about the actual band themselves, um, Google Loverboy and you'll learn a lot more about them. They played a very huge part of my growing up, as I was born in 1977. And a huge fan of all things 80s. You know, not every band, but some of the bands out of the 80s or that were big in the 80s, whether they came from the 60s or 70s, didn't matter. Um, they played a very big part in my life, being that I was raised in a bar slash restaurant in upstate New York. And to start off with the location, going with the actual wardrobe themselves. Loverboy had become, you know, pretty known in their footage of dressing in red with black. Now, the science behind colors of the two, red and black, is why I went with those two colors. Not just for Loverboy, because every detail about this video, there was a whole lot more going to it and into it and thought behind it than just standing in front of a camera at a cemetery, dancing around in the heels. So the red in the actual shorts that are underneath the jeans and the black was kind of like Loverboy coming into the now, paying homage to the band and their past and their legacy. Now, also, I will say the shoes that I have on, I still have those. They're actually behind me in the moment in a box. Um, those are stiletto heels. And not only did I want to pay homage to Loverboy themselves, being that I am a huge fan of Loverboy, and I always will be. My whole entire life, I've been a fan of Loverboy, among so many other bands and iconic musicians. So these shoes were for Prince, because Prince played a huge role in the 80s. As you'll see in the footage, I'm wearing a hoop cross earring, and that was for George Michael. Now, all of these things combined were to, like I said, pay homage to the band, but the icons of their timeline. Because throughout the time when Loverboy was at its peak during the 80s, with their success level, there were other huge icons that have since fallen. And Prince and George Michael being one of. As far as the way the clothing is done, The black with the studded pyramid belt. The jacket opened. That was also to symbolize how heavy metal and hair bands were of the day. So let's start. As you'll see right there, I had just done the crossover heart, not fully, but my ex was of Hispanic descent, and religion is very big within the Hispanic community and Latino, however you want to place those words. Um, Being in a cemetery and the context behind the lyrics themselves, very, very fitting. Now, as you'll see, I'm about to drop down, and that was to symbolize the devastation that one would go through in the moment of losing a loved one. Right there. Now I urge all of you to watch the video itself and know the video on top of this. And I'll include a link to the video below in the description of this video so that you can see it better. And I apologize for the shakiness. I am holding my phone and recording this with my phone. What I appreciate in this moment is the individual doing the editing of this, the entity that had done the editing of this, included the rays of light coming through, and that reminded me of Adobe. Being an actor in Hollywood, Adobe is king. The swaying of the earring and the necklace in synchronicity just really, really grabs my attention, and it's something that I really, really appreciate that the editor, the entity that had done the editing, has done. When to set the wheels in motion, things fall apart, make a new start. Now as you'll see, I'm about to stand, and I praise God. And I lean, that moment right there of falling into the wall like that, that was to honor and pay homage to Whitesnake. I felt very much so in a Whitesnake moment as well, on top of having the shoes for Prince, the earring for George Michael. Varying artists from varying genres of music had little key moments that were huge in the 80s in defining the era, as itself as a whole. And music itself definitely plays a role in our lives. So to fall against the wall like that in that moment was to pay homage to David Coverdale and Whitesnake in his or Is His Love. The reason why in that moment, home, 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 and I'm shaking my finger like shame on you. It meant a lot to me. That clip right there where I had moved and, threw my hand, that was the rising above. Like a sphinx coming out of the ashes and being reborn. We have to rise above and kind of place our middle finger to the air, which I did not do in this, but, in that kind of a gesture, you're like, screw everything, I'm going to rise above it all. As you can see, I had been doing some slight movement, and a form of dancing, not quite fully. I had started developing serious pain from the plantar fibromas in my feet at that point, and I did not want to include the cane in this footage. I was hoping that later on in my life I could look back and be able to see a whole bunch of varying things that I'd done for movies and TV, to even doing this video without having a cane in my hand. I was struggling deeply with having tumors in my feet, and I was feeling as though my whole life was being ripped out from under me, and that I had tried so hard to build a life for myself, and that it was all being taken away, and that I had no say. And more on that after. I was raised in a bar in upstate New York. I grew up from my childhood on up putting on performances for my family and all the patrons at the bar itself. I was paid to do so. I made a little tip off it, you know what I mean? And dancing. I had done little moments like that with a bunch of different musicians and albums, songs, Um, so growing up being a dancer and putting on these little performances, that was kind of an homage to my own past. And rubbing my hands down in the front like that, to me was, having to do with how I entered into Hollywood itself. I did not start my Hollywood career as an actor in mainstream. It was through the back door of Hollywood in the adult area of filming. And that was my gripping onto, as you'll see with the hands that were gripped. I was trying to hold on to my past. I've been told many times throughout the 15 years that I've been in Hollywood that, I should never forget where I've come from, never forget the little people and so on. And, dude, I grew up in a really small area in upstate New York. And all of my friends and all of my family, whether they have anything to do with me or not, that moment of gripping both of my hands, I'm never ever ever gonna forget where I've come from. And that's me holding on to my past and my memories as much as I can possibly ever do. And to show that I love unconditionally. I will say, pointing to the camera straight forward and shaking my head like that, no, and the finger of no. I will not be determined. I will not have my life dictated by what those of my past have told me what I can and cannot do and what I can and cannot accomplish. If I were to listen to everyone that I have grown up around, be it family, friends, whatever, if I had listened to anybody, I would have never become anything. I would have never been in a video like this. And for me, being in a video for Loverboy, I mean, it still makes me emotional. I'm still really shaky with this camera, as you can see. Like, you have no idea how much it means to me to grow up in a bar listening to music as a child, putting on these little performances, dancing for everyone. And if I had listened to any of these people, I wouldn't have been able to do any of these things. So that pointing to the camera and shaking my head and the finger of no is, don't you dare tell me what I can and cannot do. That moment of stretching my hands out was to soar and fly. We are all like the great, beautiful bird that rises from the ashes. And if we just allow ourselves to listen to God, we can soar and we can spread our wings and fly. And that was me with my head going back and forth. Why, God, why? Why has this world done so many horrible things? Why have I, with these tumors in my feet when I'm just beginning, and I felt like after all those years, I was still beginning, and I still feel like I'm in the beginning of my career. Why do things have to happen? And it's not just in the context of the lyrics. It's with myself and my own life as well, and that's what I was just saying. But with the context of the video and the message behind why I had chosen to do this in a cemetery was because you're trying to find your way again. How will you ever find love again when the greatest love you've ever known is gone? And I really wanted to accentuate the beauty of the lyrics, the context of the song, the meaning behind it all, and put more of a meaning than I'm sure was ever really thought of when the boys actually created this music. An iconic song that's yet to be labeled as iconic, I understand. But this music is so beautiful to me, and I heard so much behind it, and I wanted to do justice and play upon and accentuate. And as you'll see, I walk forward. No, 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 I'm gonna rise above. And in that moment, I had, so my Roku TV. I had, put my hand up to a bow. And I will say that you want to bow in your performance. And you also want to give a standing ovation. And to me, in that moment, at the very last clip, was a bow to the band and all of us fans for Loverboy, as well as giving the band itself a standing ovation. I think Loverboy is one of the best damn bands I've known in my life, and I love so many bands. But if you go back through their catalog, they are one of the bands of the very few that truly defined an era of a decade. Now, as far as the editing, as you know, I spent so much time throughout the entire day, every day, of deep meditation. And God told me what to shoot, how to shoot, where to look, where to go, my movements, everything. But when it comes to the editing process, I was to place the raw footage into the editor, push the button, and I was not allowed to see the final outcome of the product being done until it was posted online on YouTube for the whole world to see. And I would see it for the first time just like anyone else did. While I also bitch at God for things, I do what I'm told. And I might have a problem with doing something, like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, how dare you, whatever. I'm still going to do it anyway. And I know in my heart God told me to do everything the way that it was done, right down to the very movements. And I did indeed place it in the editor, and I sat down with my ex, just freaking out. For someone who's only on the D list, why would anybody take a chance in allowing the paranormal to take control over the editing when this is your career on the line? And it's not just any career, like I'm, working in a gas station or something. This is Hollywood. How messed up in the head would I have to be to just roll the dice? And that's what I did. And I still stand by this video and everything that was done. I still feel 4 years later that this is the best damn Loverboy video I have ever seen. I love Loverboy. I wished I had won that contest. I wanted so bad to have their autographs. I'd seen them performing here in upstate New York even. But I've never had their autographs. And I really wish that I had the poster that my one aunt had above the doorway in her bedroom of Loverboy. I wished I had that poster. But I wanted all of their autographs so that I could tattoo them into my body. Because I love the 80s. And I'm desperately holding on to... I was doing the whole clenched fist thing, holding on to all of my memories. I have a lot of memories in life at 44. And growing up, whether it was good, bad, ugly, or oh my god. My life means so much to me. I'm grateful I got the opportunity to do this. A month after this video was done, my relationship of 11 years came to an end. I found myself on a bus, heading back to upstate New York where I grew up so that I could have a bed to sleep in. It was either that, or my ex said that he was going to drop me off on Skid Row.